Man, it's nice outside. Got the birds chirping. Got the beautiful blue skies. It is hot, but it is nice outside here in the shade. And today we're talking about the big boy. Do androids dream of electric sheep? Electric? I can't speak. Electric sheep. Say that 5 times fast. Yeah, most of you will understand that this book inspired Blade Runner, the movie Blade Runner, with Mr. Harrison Ford right there. You can see the back there. That's a screen grab from the movie. But yeah, this book inspired that movie. Most people know the movie, they don't know the book, unfortunately. And I was one of those people who wasn't aware of it. I saw Blade Runner a long time ago. Saw Blade Runner 2049 when it came out. I love Denis Villeneuve, his work. And then I started digging into old science fiction, and like many of you, found this book and thought, I've been missing out because this book is freaking awesome. It's freaking awesome. It's better than Blade Runner, and I love Blade Runner. I think Blade Runner is a nearly perfect movie, but this book is so. Um, I just reviewed A Maze of Death recently. I'll be all over the place in this review, so whatever. I reviewed A Maze of Death by Philip K. Dick recently, and number one, I have to say, thank you so much for the support on that video and all the other videos. Being on YouTube this short amount of time and feeling the love and support from you guys has been so like I can't even really put into words. It makes me feel like what I'm doing on here and talking about these books, it like actually matters and people actually care. And I'm a I can get in that imposter syndrome a lot of times where, I feel like nobody cares about my opinion, but all that to say that I really appreciate that you do seem to care about what I have to say about these books, and that it means a lot. So thank you for all the support. Um, but yeah, the Maze of Death video that I did, that was the second PKD that I read. This was the first, and having read that and been blown away by it, I can't wait to dig into more of his work because man, like he he just has this way of um, giving you a portal into his deep thematic, um, just his thoughts are so it feels like there's not anything between you and his actual like brain, the manifestation of his thoughts. There's nothing between it. It's this raw, extremely gripping world that you're just transported into, and I love it. I mean, similar to the feelings that I got about Neuromancer when I read William Gibson's Neuromancer, you get these same cyberpunky feels where you just are in the world. You are in San Francisco, post-nuclear war. It's raining. There's neon everywhere, and I mean, Blade Runner the movie has a lot to do with the way you feel. If you watch the movie before you read this book, you'll feel it, the atmosphere of it. But PKD creates his own atmosphere as well. I mean, the John Isidore, one of the secondary characters that we follow in this book, the man who kind of lives in that abandoned building, like that. He lives in such a world that is it's beautifully, hauntingly painted by Dick, where it's like he just, like I said, he just transports you into this place. And so, for those of you who haven't read this book, we follow the main character, Rick Deckard, who is he's a bounty hunter for the San Francisco Police Department, where he is assigned to kill, kill androids who are uh, no longer in commission. We'll say they're a danger to the company, danger to society, whatever. And so he's commissioned to kill androids, where he earns money based off each of his kills. And different from the movie, we don't actually see the sheep in the movie that the title is talking about. Do androids dream of electric sheep? We Deckard's motivations are a little bit different in the movie, And in the book, Deckard and his wife Iran are they are owners of a uh, it's a sheep that's a machine. It's not a real sheep. Like I said, we're post nuclear war, so all the animals are nearly extinct, and pets, especially rare pets, different kinds of pets are go up kind of the rarity tiers, and it's just a way of showing class systems. I feel like how rich are you? What kind of animal do you own? Rick wants a sheep, a real sheep, um, or no, he wants an owl. I remember there's a lot of really cool imagery with the owl that we see in the movie too, but Rick talks about the rarity of the owl and how that's a real prestigious thing to own. And so he just wants to give his wife a live animal, and they own an electric sheep. And it's not cutting it. He wants more, and he wants to impress his wife and feel like he's, in this society, he's worth something. And so he goes to try to kill. There's been 6 androids that are on his kill list, on his retirement list, whatever you want to call it. And we see him go through uh, just the adventure of going after these androids. I'll just put a spoiler real quick, just so I can try to be courteous to those of you who haven't read it, so that if you don't want to proceed any further in this video, I'm going to be talking about stuff specific to the plot, specific to the endings, that kind of thing. So you've been warned. We also follow this character, John Isidore, like I said, he's this kind of hermit. It's said he doesn't, his brain doesn't function as well. He was he was injured, or I can't remember exactly if there was a reason, but he is slower intellectually, and he's portrayed as this kind, sweet, kind of older-ish gentleman who just kind of not even older. I feel like he's like in his 30s or 40s, where he's just kind of this sweet old guy. It's the way it comes across, I guess. But he meets 3 of these Nexus 6 androids, one of which happens to be like the twin android of Rachel, who meets Deckard and helps Deckard. And like the interweaving of that storyline and John Isidore's storyline is really cool, because we see them kind of come to a head at the end when Deckard goes and retires those androids. Something I thought that was really powerful was the fact that when he learns that Rachel, the android that he interacts with, the first Rachel, we'll say, um, she tells him that, hey, you're going to encounter an android at this place when you go to kill these when he goes to John Isidore's building, that looks exactly like me. She like tells him that, and he has this real kind of realization of like, can I do that? Because he has some relations with her, we'll say, and feels a connection to her and everything. And so I found that really interesting, because you could tell that it pulled on his empathy, which is a huge, huge part of this book. It exploring the the implications of humanity's advancement technologically and how that will affect our empathy. I think that was a decent way of putting it. I think PKD was extremely aware of the effects of technology, or what he feared the effects of advancement in technology would do to the human experience. We live our lives on our phones. We live on the internet these days. They're chained to it and shackled to it, and I think more and more we're seeing people not be able to live without technology. Their ability to understand human emotion, understand someone else's experience being different from their own, that is being eroded away by screens and our lack of human connection. And that's just one of the few things that I think Dick is trying to explore in this book. But I find his ability to tell that story of Deckard and explore those themes just so compelling. It's such an easy read, and I know I'm saying that, and for some of you it might not be. it actually is a challenging read in a lot of ways, but easy in the sense that I think it's one of PKD's most accessible reads. And again, I've only read a couple of them, so take my word with a grain of salt. But I just felt like I didn't need a whole lot of lead up to understand what he was trying to say. Because PKD writes in a weird way sometimes. You know, the aspects of mercerism and the is it empathy box, or what is it called? The Where they tap it, they basically tap in and they can choose their mood, kind of thing. That kind of stuff can get a little bit strange to read and be like, where are we at with the character? Where are we at? Um, so I'm not saying it's easy where you can walk through his book um, without much thought. I'm kind of saying the opposite, but I just think that it was easy because this book, out of so many science fiction books that I've read in the last year, it stuck with me, and it has continued to resonate with me, having dealt with everybody deals with empathy of other people on a daily basis, really. But especially if you've dealt with people who in your life who've had a hard time with empathy, I think this book just illustrates people's relationships with being able to like step into someone else's shoes really well, and why I think technology is hindering that. I saw a post recently that I thought was really interesting that said, the next generation not reading as much will impact their empathy really in a major way. It talked about how when you read a book, you're stepping into someone else's shoes and their head and their feelings, their ups and downs and shortcomings. And I think that reading in and of itself is a powerful exercise in empathy, especially if you read books that are hard reads, that the content is tough. I'm not saying there's anything against light reading, but I have a hard time getting through a light reading book um, unless I'm in the mood for it. I recently reviewed Red Rising with my buddy Luke on this channel, and we had a fun time reading it. I think because I was in the mood for it. I had read a lot of vintage sci-fi leading up to that read, and I needed something that was a little more casual, and um, I had fun with that one. I think that I guess what I'm trying to say, and I'm saying it very long-winded, a long-winded way of saying reading impacts our empathy, and I think that our empathy is something we truly have to treasure as a society, as a culture, because you know it might just be androids are the only thing standing in our way of us being like totally cold and emotionless. Uh, we see this character Phil. Is it Phil Resch, I think um, I think is what his name was. Anyway, he's a fellow bounty hunter of Deckard's in this book, and he's different from Deckard in the way that he like kind of relishes in the killing. He's kind of a psychopath. He even takes the test, the kind of empathy test at one point to detect if you're an android, and it's kind of like, no, you're not an android, but you're a psycho. You're evil. Um, and so I really do think that PKD was extremely aware of the effects that technology could have on our brains and our relationships, because we're connected to everything. And um, yeah, I just love this book. I think it's a perfect book. Um, I encourage you to read more Philip K. Dick. Like I said, I reviewed Maze of Death, and it was great. It wasn't quite this, but it was just below that. PKD explores religion in that book as well as in this book with mercerism and this kind of like martyr-like figure. I think that is supposed to give you kind of a religious take in their world, in Deckard's future world. And so if any of that interests you, is interesting to you, I would definitely read this book. if you've read other Philip K. Dicks and haven't read this, I think you enjoyed those. I think you would really enjoy this book because it's a tight 215 pages of just it's awesome. It's cool. There's some action to it, not a ton, but some, and the pacing's beautiful. The it's just a perfect book. And so yeah, I won't keep rambling. I'm doing my best in these videos to get better at kind of shrinking my thoughts down a little bit so that these could be like 15-minute reviews, hopefully, is my goal. But I'm getting the internal clock that I'm about right there. So hopefully I'm right. But this, among the other books that I recently did a haul video for, I have a lot of Philip K. Dick sitting on my shelf ready to be read. So what do you think? What should I read next by this guy? This great author. I've seen Ubik in the comments, which is in this collection. I saw Scanner Darkly, which I don't have. You know, Three Stigmata really intrigues me. Man in the High Castle also really intrigues me. I thought those alternate histories are really fascinating to me, especially World War II. So I'd be curious to know what do you think I should read next by Mr. Philip K. Dick. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Thank you so much again for just joining me on this ride. I've had a blast making these videos so far, and it's because of you guys that I'm still wanting to do this, and I have more motivation, even more than when I started. Because when I started this, I thought, oh, this will be a fun, little side thing that I can do to talk to a few people about my books that I like, and it's become bigger than that, and it just makes me excited and makes me feel like this is worthwhile. So, like I said before, thank you. It goes a long way. It really does. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching this, and take care of yourself.